Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Jedi and Sith, to Project Imperial Might. Now, the purpose of this video is in case you don't have that Darth Revan or even Bastila Shan, but you still have the rest of the Empire. Guess what? They're still very useful because Vader still will be very fast, and the core remains the same. Palpatine is still going to be the lead, and he's still going to be giving out massive turn meter for 20% turn meter for all Empire for per debuff inflicted in their turn. Now, the Empire characters that spam the most debuffs obviously are Vader, Palpatine, Grand Moff Tarkin, and then that fourth one was a bit hard to find, but TIE Pilot, who I'm using here, is a great choice for it. You could also get away with like Death Trooper because he inflicts healing immunity in days, but like in terms of mass debuffs, our man TIE Pilot is the best man for that job. The reason for this is because his TIE Strike ability has an 80% chance to inflict buff immunity, and then ability blocks the primary target. So those who are affected have an 80% chance to get buff immunity, and then whoever he targets inflicts ability block on them, which aids Thrawn, because then when Thrawn uses his basic, he can stun. Now also, TIE Pilot deals 35% more damage for each enemy suffering a debuff, and then inflicts tenacity down as well on a critical hit, if I remember correctly. Also, he gains 10% turn meter and has a 30% chance to gain foresight for each debuffed enemy, so he can be up to 100% turn meter at the end of the turn, and has 100% chance to get foresight at the end of the turn, which is very helpful. Now, this team could potentially beat Night Sisters if you are able to ability block both Talzin and Talia, because right there she just cleansed all the debuffs. Even though we got a bunch of turn meter, there's no more ability blocks, especially on Talzin, and now it's a game set match and we're gonna lose. So if you want to get more consistent wins, one, either make sure they don't have Talia or get ability blocks, especially on Ventress because she can strip some turn meter, and then Talzin so you can avoid the plague. And then if they got Talia, you gotta apply ability block over there. That's 3 ability blocks you gotta apply. So you gotta make sure you're being careful, because if you do not control Talzin, you will lose. Now, you can also potentially beat Padme teams if you control General Kenobi, and then also make sure that you control Anakin. Now, in this case, Kenobi didn't taunt, which is rare, so what I was trying to do was show what you'd have to do normally, but because the General Kenobi's pretty weak, my Thrawn damages him too much, and Anakin goes to town, which then ruins everything, because then they have courage and tenacity up from the protection up, meaning I can't apply any more debuffs, which gives us less turn meter, and as such, we're going to eventually lose. Now, Tarkin's importance in this lineup is he can inflict debuffs, and then gains 15% turn meter after using that ability for each debuffed enemy. So he can get almost 100% turn meter. I mean, if there's 5 enemies, 15 times 5, you got yourself quite a bit of turn meter for a total of 75%. And then also he gets 20% turn meter for each debuff applied from Palpatine's lead, so he's easily getting 100% turn meter. Now, he also, if you have the Zeta on him, gains defense equal to his potency, and then without the Zeta, 20% potency per debuffed enemy, so he's going to be able to apply even more debuffs for those who have debuffs. Now, his basic gives him a 10% more of a chance, like more damage for each living ally, and gains 50% potency stacking until his special ability is used, and there's a 100% chance to remove 50% turn meter, and then gains offense equal to double the potency percentage, so he can get that fire at will to deal so much damage. You can completely get rid of people, and then he also slows them down. Now, to defeat Geos, I have not found a reliable team. Otherwise, you're gonna still need Basilisk on Fallen, but you don't need Darth Revan, so you could still, if you have Darth Revan, you could still do Darth Revan, HK-47, and Malik with Sith Marauder and Sith Trooper, Sith Empire Trooper, since there's 2 Sith Troopers in the game now. But with that, you're able to still have 2 good teams and still be able to have a Geocook team and then an A grade team in Darth Revan. And if you don't have Darth Revan, Basilisk Shan, yeah, she is a hard node farm, but it's well worth it because you can beat Geos pretty easily. Now, the most consecutive successful wins would be against bounty hunters, rebels without Han and Chewie, so you could beat some CLS teams without Han and Chewie and C-3PO, because C-3PO can definitely shut down the Empire. That's literally what he is designed to do. You can easily take out Phoenix squads. Oftentimes, I'll just throw in Palpatine, Vader, Thrawn, and they take care of those Phoenix squads pretty easy. Old Republic, same story. Thrawn locks down Zalabar, and then you just take everyone else out, and that is another pretty easy battle. Scoundrels, such as Kira teams, the Empire can walk all over them. And then, like I said earlier, Night Sisters, you can win against as long as you are faster than them, and then make sure you control Talzin and Asajj. And if they have Talia, which is very rare, but if they do, you gotta make sure she doesn't cleanse all the debuffs, because if she does, well, now they don't have ability block on them and they can just run circles around you. Now, this team you're currently seeing me facing is a fully relic bounty hunter team. If I remember correctly, the lowest relic was a relic 4. They had a couple relic 7s in there. You'll see later that Bosk is pretty beefy and it takes some time for us to get through him. That Jango Fett also has high tenacity and has a pretty high health. It took a while to get through this team. And just to put it in perspective, my lowest gear character is TIE Pilot, and he's gear 8. And I'm going to be able to survive with everyone. And, I mean, I only have 1 relic, and that's relic 4. My highest relic is their lowest relic level. But the Empire just takes care of them. They go, yeah, you got higher relics, it doesn't matter. So if you're looking for a team that can definitely punch up, especially on those better bounty hunt teams, you could definitely deal some damage with the Empire. Just make sure that their Jango Fett's not going to go faster than you, and also make sure that if it's a Jango Fett lead, that you definitely go first. Because if you let Jango go first with his lead Flame, you won't be able to gain any bonus turn meter, because his leadership says anyone with debuffs cannot gain turn meter. So that makes it very hard to gain turn meter, have a turn meter train when he's locking you down. So you just gotta make sure you control him. But fortunately here, it's just a Bosk lead, which is pretty difficult still. They got high health, high tenacity, high defense, but because there are so many debuffs, we're able to just keep taking turns, and just Vader just deals a lot of damage. However, because of the high defense, it's going to take a while. This battle gets all the way down to the wire, and I'm saying minutes, not even minutes, seconds left on the clock. Now, the attack strategy is very much the same. Vader, Force Crush, Saber Throw gets the turn meter rolling. Thrawn fractures main target, Bosk in this case, or someone who already has a taunt, if there's a pre-taunter. Tarkin applies debuffs, then removes turn meter. TIE Pilot applies more debuffs, and then more debuffs. Palpatine stuns everyone, make sure you control them. That's pretty much what you do, and that's what you try and keep doing. Hence why when Anakin got to go first in that Padme battle, because I damaged their Kenobi so much, that hurt me, because then I can't apply more debuffs, which means I can't stun them, which means then they are free to do whatever they want, which hurts, because that is the attack strategy. You're pretty much meant to get out of the gate as fast as possible, and then to stop them from being able to do anything. And so you just gotta make sure that you keep applying those debuffs like you're seeing me here. I'm trying as fast as possible, slap it on auto, and with just seconds left on the clock, Thrawn fractures and takes the cake. Now, if you don't want to use Basilisk Shan, like I said earlier, which will make it a better team, you could potentially use Count Dooku because of his shock and stun, which will just aid Palpatine even more, allowing him to just take control of the situation. And I mean, it's not a full Empire team, which is really why I didn't show him with it, but he could be a potential substitute for a Bastila Shan if you don't want to use her. In conclusion, this is a great cleanup team with potential if the kits were to be touched up a bit, and I hope you enjoyed watching this video and sparked some ideas for you. If you liked it, consider leaving a like or even subscribing, and as always, this has been the Grand Admiral, and end transmission.